Hi, this is Professor Cummings, and I wanted to make this video. I'm probably coming late with it, but I wanted to make a video to thank my subscribers for helping me reach this 1,000 subscriber milestone. Actually, when I started subscribing, making videos, I really didn't think I would make 1,000 subscribers probably for a year. I didn't have any idea how long that would take. So I figured I'll give myself to the end of 2017 to make 100 videos and get 1,000 subscribers and see where it goes from there. And here it is. It was actually beginning of July 2nd, I got to my 1,000 subscriber, and actually it took me a couple of weeks to make the video thanking you for it. So just right now I want to formally say thank you for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And also with this video I wanted to kind of go over my background. Who is Professor Cummings, and why do I do these videos, and then what do I want to do with this channel. So I've made a little presentation, bear with me, I'm going off the cuff here to kind of go over a little bit as who I am, where I am, and where I want to go. So past, present, and future. So that's the direction I'm taking. So a bit of my background. My background is I have an engineering degree. I graduated in 1992 and was a actual engineer, for 14 years. Okay, so for 14 years straight, I was an engineer. I started off as a quality engineer, doing SPC in a production facility. I worked for the automotive industry and also did process improvements and redesigning different processes, and just basically all around kind of new guy stuff. So I did that for 14 years for a few different companies, mostly in the automotive industry. I did go to another company for a couple of years where I was in manufacturing, a manufacturing engineer for compressors for refrigeration and air conditioning units. A big company that actually had market share in the US, Europe, and Asia. And my job there was to set up new plants, test out new machines, run new machines, specify new machines. So really getting my hands deep into machining, CNC machining and manufacturing processes, as well as doing plant layout. And so I got a pretty well-rounded background at that point. So that was starting off as a quality engineer and a product engineer, or process engineer for an automotive company, then going into this particular company where I did air conditioning, but still in manufacturing. And from there, I went back into automotive, where I started looking at even more different manufacturing processes, still mostly in machining, but also stamping and some other parts of manufacturing. And still in the manufacturing industry, going through prototyping different things like that. And then something happened, in 2007, and the recession hit. So 14 years, uninterrupted career, all of a sudden this recession hit. Now, just to note, some of you may know this, the recession didn't hit automotive and manufacturing the same as it did every place else. The bottom didn't just drop out. It was a slow bleed. Okay, so the slow bleed, and I was able to leave one company and go to several others. Now, this is important. This is important because what that did was it allowed me to go from big, stable companies to smaller companies that were just getting by. And I saw the skill level change. I saw the things that people didn't know and weren't used to, or didn't ever have to address in a company that was barely getting by. So I started realizing that there was a place for the skill to be, somebody who had these particular skills to actually come in and help companies. So I started working for another company, that is basically was a non-for-profit company that counts on a lot of different government grants, that is in manufacturing R&D and consulting. And the main goal of this company was to do research and development for new manufacturing technologies to help U.S. manufacturing to become more competitive, as well as doing consulting with a lot of different companies. So I was working with a lot of universities, working with NIST, and working with a lot of different educational programs, and just a lot of really smart people in how to manufacturing could be addressed. This was all through the recession. Still the recession and the recovery hadn't happened yet, so I was still working there, and started going back to graduate school. I went back to graduate school because I only had a bachelor's at that point. So I decided to go back to graduate school because there were certain things that I was starting to notice about manufacturing technology that I really wanted to understand more. And that was the only reason I went back to graduate school, was to expand what I didn't know. Understand more about what's going on in things that I just didn't understand before, and learn how to do more applied research, as well as understanding a lot more about the world around manufacturing. And being able to participate in it a lot more, because the company I'm working with does work a lot with, or that I was working with, works with a lot of universities, a lot of government agencies, and a lot of military. So I was working on the Smart Machine Platform Initiative, which was with the Department of Defense. I was working, that's all public knowledge. You can look me up on that. You can Google me and find my articles and my papers on that one. Looking at a lot of new technologies on metrology, the science of measurement, particularly measurement in manufacturing and machine tools. So this is what I did in graduate school, and going back for my advanced degrees. And again, like I said, I worked with a lot of universities because of that job and because of graduate school. And that is when I got offered a temporary and adjunct position with a university, a local university, one of the bigger research facilities, but local to me. And what they did was, have me to do one class, on part-time, doing it online, for design for manufacturing and assembly. So I was talking to a lot of people going to graduate school, also engineers, teaching them how to design things so that they are more manufacturable. So this is one of my first classes I taught. And what I started realizing was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching. I enjoyed working with the academics, both as a researcher and doing, different R&D projects, but also as a educator. So that was when I became a professor. I had all my credentials. I'd gone through and gotten my advanced degree, and I had something that a lot of people didn't have, was I actually worked in manufacturing for 14 years as a straight production guy, and I had 8 more years as a consultant and doing research. So I felt like I was rounded out, and so I became a professor. And some of the things I saw as a professor, as well as my consulting, led me to starting a YouTube channel, Infinity MFG, because I was thinking, hey, I can help people out there, as well as be able to put some YouTube, help consolidate my thoughts. Well, in December, I abandoned the channel a little bit, so you can go back and you can see my channel started years ago, but there weren't any videos on it. I didn't take them down; they just weren't there. So what I did in December of last year, December of 2016, I actually started using my YouTube channel to help students. My actual students is in the university classroom. So engineering students are going to my YouTube channel, my engineering students. And everything I did, if you look at my earliest videos, they all are focused on stuff directly out of my classroom. I may even call out people by name in some of my videos. So I'm literally working with students. I'm using it as a tool. And as a professor, I try to use different types of learning techniques. I'm constantly updating my pedagogy, my learning style, my teaching style, if you will, and trying to make it so that the students can learn the best. And what I've found is that is really needed, and that is really kind of the void, is not so much the math aspect of engineering. If you're in an engineering program, your math is usually the last problem you have. The real problem that a lot of students have is understanding the concepts and their full application, what the full implications are between things like Poisson's ratio, understanding what the stress strain curve means, what it means when something is heat treated, so understanding how all their academic work goes into an application. And so my videos that I started making are concept related, and I make them short. I make them something that a student can look up, watch them in 10-15 minutes, and at least have that concept behind them. And that was the whole purpose of my channel, is to make it so that the student can do a quick reference on ideas and then walk away with a good amount of knowledge. That's why you don't see me working through a whole bunch of elaborate equations that you see typically with engineering. Instead, it's just trying to drive home the concept. Okay. One thing I also want to do, and I do this with my students, and I want to do this outside, is I will try to create a technical community. I want to give a feeling of community, because these videos actually help me as well. They actually help me understand things. So when somebody asks me a question, it forces me to research it and be able to speak on it intelligently. So I walk away better off for it. So I have a video up that actually is titled, Planetary Gears, a response to Zach. That video helped me out as much as it probably helped out Zach and anybody else. You can look it up. Just a video where I talk about planetary gearing, and what the whole idea behind it. Something I hadn't looked at since I was an undergrad, in spite of working in the automotive industry. So I wanted to create a community where students can talk to each other, help each other out, as well as other people in manufacturing and engineering. So kind of give each other some clues as well as help me out. So that brings us to the state of my channel. So that's the past. So now let's talk about what is. So the state of the channel. So as you all know, this is a YouTube channel called Infinity MFG. That's the name I picked. I just thought it sounded cool. Infinity Manufacturing. And that's my little logo. And I have a presence on YouTube with 1,000 subscribers. I've got a Twitter page where I mostly use Twitter to try and put up new articles. I try to stay in contact with I follow several people who might be in different industries in manufacturing, different engineering capacities, and I try to retweet a lot of their articles and a lot of blog posts because I'd like that information getting circulated. I'm on Google Plus under Manufacturing Skills and Education, which was my first Google Plus community I started, which was really intended to help out people more in the manufacturing standpoint, manufacturing engineering. So I put a lot of manufacturing related articles up, a lot of manufacturing related videos. Then there is the engineer's reference, which is really meant to be more of or started off as more of an engineering, literally an engineer's reference. So I would put up videos, different types of calculators, different types of rules of thumbs, how to do a free body diagram, things that, like my YouTube channel, you go in, you get your information, you take it and you leave. All right. And then a Facebook page, which is really a lot more about manufacturing and different manufacturing processes. So again, same idea, quick reference. I want to know this concept, go in, get your information, and you go about your day. And hopefully I would like that to be more of a community-based things where people raise questions and exchange ideas, not just me doing all the talking. So where do I want to go with this channel? What's the future plans of Infinity MFG and Professor Cummings? Well, one thing I would like to do, and that I am doing, and if you stick around in August, you will see this. The engineer's reference. I like that name. I felt like it was the most appropriate of the name. Is getting recognized now, and I'm going to start a page, a website called theengineersreference.com. Again, same idea. Quick reference, get your information, understand the concept, and move on. I'm going to write blog posts. I do have a series on here called Manufacturing News. I'll blog post about different types of advancements in technology, different things that are coming up, different things that you learn. I'll be able to put those together. I'm going to use it to consolidate a lot of my video tutorials, so create a library of videos. So they'll still be available on YouTube, but they'll also be there on this the engineer's reference, so that you can organize. So they'll be organized in a way that's more user friendly to somebody who's just following the engineer's reference. And then I also want to start adding my presentation slides, so PDFs, so that if I do a video or there's something that you actually got some value from, you can download the slides. So those will be available. So think of the engineer's reference as a toolbox for people who are either engineering students, people who are in industry, and you just need to refresh your brain on different concepts that you might, stress strain curves or how heat treating works or something, whatever it is. You can go in and have a quick reference for that information that you can pull off and move on quickly. Now, I also want to talk about things like industry trends and skills gap. Those are some of the big topics. Those things are real. Those things are happening, and a lot of people will, I think, get a lot of value out of that. There's a lot of reasons that jobs are going unfilled, and one of them is because people don't have the skill set to fill them. And one way to get the skill set quickly and cheaply is to go on things like, the engineer's reference, where you can learn things like geometric dimension and tolerancing. So filling in those skills gaps that a lot of employers need, and you can actually help out. Also, I like the industry trends because it kind of lets people know, okay, here's what really is missing, and here's the specific skills that you need to be working on in order to become a value and help yourself grow. So again, the whole idea of creating a community, I like the idea of an exchange of ideas for engineers and manufacturing professionals. I also, again, last point, uh, have it there so that different types of study techniques. I firmly believe if you understand how you learn and you understand where your strengths are, you can actually help yourself grow that much faster. A lot of people get frustrated in education because they're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and there's not just one way to learn information. We're not all cut out the same. If you can find a better way of absorbing information, if you can understand more about your own learning style and your own education direction, then I'd like to be able to help you out there with the engineer's reference. So the engineer's reference is the big plan. Take place in August. I'm gonna launch it in August, and it'll be a community for people to enjoy. And again, I'd like to thank you guys for getting me over that 1,000 subscriber hump 5 months early, quicker than I thought I would. And glad that this is getting some value to you guys. And if it does, if you're getting any help, keep in mind I keep my YouTube channel pretty well organized, so it's easy to track down videos, I think. If not, give me feedback. Also, just one request, just if there's any topics you want me to talk about, let me know, and I'll make sure that I start including that. So again, thanks a lot. This is Professor Cummings, and stay tuned for more videos.